I'm going to do old shit because it's Poetryspective.
Old shit.
Hey, old shit.
Whatever you shit. Good one.
Although Tim did one of my old shits. So.
I did ask. God damn it.
He did ask, but I'm so bad at, yeah. I had a set list and I also had a Russian breakup letter on my, I won't read the Russian breakup letter.
Did it go in Kalinka?
I was going to read that. I was talking with Amanda in the break about Charles Darwin.
That's a long title.
Yeah, Dear Darwin. So I'm going to read my Darwin poem.
Yes. He's loving Tennessee.
Dear Darwin, I don't understand, Mr. Darwin. This selection of what you speak seems very unnatural. If I must change my teeth to sabre in order to eat my blunted neighbour and force them to change to bigger sabres in order to eat me back, then how long before we are all in dentures? Where's Benny when you need him? Just toiling and ever hunching for the fear of attack. And since it's there, here's another very early one. Now, I first did this one in a gig that's disappeared at the Under the Hammer in Sydney Road. Yeah, where Santo Cazzati had his funeral before he died.
He's still not dead.
He's still
alive. He's still fucking alive.
It's called The C Word. My father was a communist. I always knew when he lost his job because he'd pick me up after school. Still in his work boots and overcoat clamped against the cold. And dink me home on his bicycle. The Johnson twins laughing and making faces as they passed us in the car. Mrs. Johnson yelling from the front, "Don't stare, don't stare." And I would play boy in the crow's nest, perched on the handlebars, facing the biting wind, calling, "Pothole ahead, hard to port, steer left." And I'd stay up late, and while Gran wasn't looking, he'd give me a dram of wine in a jam jar, and I'd wander off to sleep with a vision of my father, the communist, hunched in a trail of slow grey smoke, like following the sinking of a stone. My father was a communist. I always knew when there was trouble at the docks by the light from the bathroom, sharp and thin beneath the door, and the hall would fill with shadow talk and the sound of running water, and I would lay still against the loud, loud linen and play the spy. Their words the warp and weft of gauze, and all I ever heard was, why, and don't you ever think about the boy? And brushing my teeth for school in the morning, I'd spit my Colgate at the spatters of blood remained at the sink plug clung, where the sink plug clung to its tiny chain. I've had a few wines. Yeah. In a jam jar. My father was a communist. I always knew when Gran promised the Melbourne Zoo, but told me I should clean my shoes, that night I would see him, propped up with pillows and pricked with tubes, eyes clamped against the oily, disinfectant glow. And perched on the steel back of a chair, I would play the sparrow, pondering the leg spring or the wingspan required to reach his legs in a single bound, and be the boy who wondered if to land on him would hurt him, or if I would catch his slow disease just for being near him. My father, the communist. And Gran would laugh, buckling me into the back seat of the car. No, who told you that? You can't catch communism. It's not what he has. It's just what he is. I'll try and remember this one for Amanda. This is a rough guide.
Yes.
Which was the 2015 Melbourne Spoken Word Prize, which Steve beat me
Fuck you, Steve. Fuck you.
with a poem about kittens.
Oh, well,
I mean, yeah, you can't really, you can't beat kittens, really, can
He
you?
obviously brought the judge.
This is called a rough guide. Get yourself a suit. Not too flashy, not too bright. Clipboard, manila folder, plain coffee cup with the tepid steam. They'll think that you work there. Wear loud shoes. Not flashy, not bright, but loud like hooves on cobblestone, so that your purpose resounds in the corridors and overscores the ping polite chime of elevator doors. Approach them breathless and slide on through that guillotine slit and ask for the floor that's not yet lit and then stare. They'll think that you work there. Find a rhythm and repeat. Find a rhythm and repeat. Find a rhythm and repeat and say things like, I can't believe how many emails I've received today. It's driving me crazy. Or I had to park miles away. I don't know what's going on. Blame the bloody Greens, the single mums, the refugees. They'll nod their heads and always agree. It really is quite very easy. In the beige kitchenettes, complain about the scarcity of biscuits with the cream and how no one remembers to shut the lids properly. There's plenty of strawberries and muffins left over in the fridge from the meetings this morning. Take some. No one will know. No one will care. I'll think that you work there. Well, Fridays are good days. Get there late. 1 or 2 champagnes late when people can't quite place your face and can't remember names. Scan the headlines, footy teams, interest rates. Just the key words. If you get stuck, say, oh, I haven't been following. It's just been crazy. Leave early. Maybe pocket a few canapes. If they ask in the car park, just say, oh, splitting headache, but I'll be okay. Got much on for the weekend? How about those tags, eh? Pick a car. Not too flashy, not too bright. The keys are inside, they're never locked. Pick a road, any road. Pick a house. Say something like, honey, I'm home. They'll think that you live there. Thank you. This is another pretty old one. This is based on a true story that I read in the newspaper about a husband and wife. The husband faked his own death so that they could get the insurance money, and he moved in next door to his wife. And they got away with it for quite a lot of years before the authorities caught up with them. So this is called Future First Mutual Life Insurance. Mr. Williams putt-putted a small boat out through the heads, slipped over the side, pulled the dark, dark sea around him, and emerged on land as Mr. Jones, the pale, kept-to-himself new neighbour of Mrs. Williams, widow, with a brand new car and finally sending the kids to a good school. Word around the clotheslines and the fruit vine fences was, something's going on, but who are we to poke our noses? $1 million, they say, the insurance claim, and paid, though they never found his body, so Future First Mutual kept the change. Those moonlit nights she would steal, out through the hedge, slip down his blinds, her husband, this man, never so alive than since he was dead. Each kiss, the invention of breath, and breathless each kiss would revive them. But change or no change, there would be deeming and claiming in the craws of the neighbours that this widow Williams must have been faking. And fraud, fraud, 1,000,000 times fraud, they all cried. Have you no shame, Williams and Jones? No sense of the value of human life? It's people like you make our premiums too high. And Mr. Williams, exhumed, spent 6 years inside. And Mrs. Williams resumed, counting the nights into piles like coins for the bills. Well, Future First Mutual tut-tutted through their people, their balance restored like a hole in the water. And they later bought into Wexton and Co., engineers of those fine, precision military drones that can take out a whole wedding for just $6 million ago. This one's for George, who's not here. It's called A Doctor. I once knew a doctor, the doctor of the mind. It was my first time. She said, "Write me a poem about the ocean." I said, "All right." And I wrote, "I am the ocean, not all of the ocean, not all of the time, but enough of the ocean to reach for the lines of your shore." She said, "Is that all?" I said, "Well, with the time available and my pockets so full of holes." She said, "Read it again, only this time swap the word ocean for love." I said, "All right. I am the love, not all of the love, not all of the time, but enough of the love to reach for the lines of your shore." She said, "I don't think you're sure. I think you're very unsure." I said, "I think you're just angling." You could change it to anything, like, how about fish? She said, "Go ahead, if you wish." I am the fish. Not all of the fish, not all of the time, but enough of the fish to reach for the lines of your shore. She said, "These fish, are they stretching away from you or casting towards?" I said, "Are we still talking about water?" Or are we talking about love? So there's a sequel to that one. I think I'm running out of time. There's a sequel to that one called A Doctor 2. I got to know a doctor of the mind. She said, "Write me a poem about time, Tim." I said, "All right." And I wrote, "Time takes what it needs and no more, and we take the remainder as given." She smiled, a half-professional smile, and said, "Now read it again, only change the word time to fish." I said, "Now you're just taking the piss." A fish takes what it needs and no more, and we take the remainder as given. I said, "Now can I change it to love?" She said, "No. We're out of time now." I have to see somebody else. I think I'm out of time. Do you want just one more? Okay, well, I'll do a new shit then.
New shit.
That'll be friggin' smelly.
Get the tacky bags.
Well, oh gee, I was going to do a Western prophecy since we're in Footscray.
I've smelled those before.
But here's the one for all the film buffs in the audience. Meeting Audrey Hepburn. See if you can spot the film that this is from. Do you know what's wrong with you? Absolutely nothing. My first ever lover said that to me, her glistening eyes round as the moon, extending to my mouth the spoon of mango chutney. Oh, the joyous hold of 92 on a tongue tip. The body is surely a work of magic. We broke up in the blood orange glow of a darkroom, photography students. She kept all the negatives and married a cinematographer. The next year I saw the film, Audrey Hepburn to Cary Grant. Do you know what's wrong with you? She absolutely stole that line. And now any taste of mango feels like Audrey Hepburn's smile. So, it was not for nothing. Thank you. It's charade, but it's set in Paris, yeah.
Paris Sizzles.